Hello, I'm Riley, formerly known as Thrifts and Prints on Instagram. This is my project that I'm working on today. We're adding a body to this puppet head. I already gave him shoulders out of clay and wire. I attached them using rubber cement just from Elmer's, and I have gone ahead and started making a body. This is just wire. It's pretty flexible. I couldn't tell you the gauge, but I can show you. It looks like this. I got it at Blick. It was like $12 for 30 yards of this wire. It's like coated in rubber. I didn't really care what it was. I just wanted the cheapest wire I could find for the amount. So I got this, and I just made little loops for legs. So then we're making a marionette today. These ones behind me are all hand puppets, but marionette it is today for these puppet heads. Although I could have made them like a felt body, I wanted to honor their craftsmanship with a nice marionette. And then I went ahead and made some arms as well. They're the same technique, just looped wire, and then I covered them in clay. The beauty of puppets is what's on the inside can be ugly as long as what's on the outside looks good. So you can make puppets out of trash any day with every single puppet you make, and they could look like $1,000 craftsman marionettes on the outside. And then I went ahead and made these hands, also made out of wire and clay. And now I'm going to put all these together, and then I will show you what that looks like.
I'm switching over to voiceover. So first we're going to start with materials. I talked about that blue wire, which is pretty flexible. And then the other 3 wires are just different armature wires. Then I have a pair of pliers. These are just simple pliers. I don't even know what kind they are. They're just regular pliers, I think. And then I have a pair of scissors. Any scissors would do the trick. And then I just have a piece of crudely cut foam that I'm using to build up the body of the puppet. So I've built up the body, and I've added armature wire and clay, arms and legs. I showed in the beginning how I made them. And then what I did is I added wire loops to the hands. It's just all about wrapping a lot of wire together and making loops. So I did that to the hands and attached those to the arms. And then for the shoulders, I took pieces of clay and added them to the top of the arms I had already made, and just stuck the clay on and stuck a piece of wire in, and then folded that over on the sides so it would create a loop so the shoulders can move around. And then I left some extra wire so I could loop that to the other part of the shoulder already on the head of the body. And then to attach the head or those clay shoulder parts that I made to that foam body, I just took some wire and wrapped it around. It looks horrible, but that doesn't matter. It's sturdy. And on the hands, you can see I took those clay wire and hot glue hands, and I actually just added more hot glue in between all the fingers to make paws, because I wanted that for this particular puppet. And then I took knitted fabric. I wanted knitted because it was stretchy and I wouldn't have to measure. I hate measuring. So I sewed little pouches inside out for the paws, folded them over so they had a clean edge, and then slipped them over like mittens almost. And then I just looped thread all around and pulled it taut so the little mitten would stay over the inside of the hand. And then I just went ahead and with cement glue and fabric, I made little pads for the paws. On the inside of the body, there's a square of armature wire, and I just had that so I could have a place for the legs to hang. And since I didn't want the legs to move all over the place, since that wouldn't be a good marionette, I put hot glue in the spaces where I didn't want the legs to move around. And as for the feet, I left some extra wire out under the clay part of the calf of the marionette, and I'm going to use that extra wire to create a closed loop. For the shoes, I just took pieces of clay and made some simple little shoe designs. I twisted wire loops and stuck them into the clay and let the clay dry around the wire so it would be sturdy. And then I drilled through the clay. I used 2 different types of clay. I used paper clay and then just another air dry clay. I think this was the regular air dry clay, and I was able to drill through it pretty easily. It was also still a little soft, so it was easier to drill through. But I'm just threading a piece of quilting thread into the shoe because we are going to use that thread as the strings for the marionette. And then I also added little dots on the shoe just to give it more character. And here's just a fuller picture of the puppet. I added some details to his face because the original paint was dripping off and someone else had already tried to repaint over that. So I just added my own paint. I'm not super into the matte look of it, but I think it looks cleaner, so I'm satisfied. And then I went and I attached the shoes to the puppet. You can see that. And then I painted the legs blue later on. There was no reason for this, and it was unnecessary. But now the puppet has blue legs. And then I just covered the foam body in packing tape just to keep it more structured because it was just looking like stacks of foam before this point. And then I wasn't liking the way that looked just to look at, so I just threw a piece of fabric. I tied it in the back. He has a little smock now, just covering the foam. Again, no reason. It was just my wanting to. And here's a close-up of the hands or the paws. Is that even what a cat? Yeah, cat's paw. Okay, that's correct. And now, this is a huge jump, but I made some clothes for him. I didn't photograph the whole process because this is what I did. I just laid the puppet out on the pieces of fabric I wanted to use, and I traced pants and a shirt. They just don't even think about drawing well. Draw as if you were in, 3rd grade. And then just cut out the shapes. I make them way bigger than they have to be because I want it to fit over all the different parts of the body. And then I hand sewed some of it, and then I got tired of that, so I just stapled it. That inside out, you do that. So then you flip the fabric the right way out, and you get a shirt shape with clean edges like it's been sewn, or you could actually sew it. I just didn't have a sewing machine at hand, so I was lazy and used a stapler. And I did the same thing for the pants. And then for the waistband of the pants, I just loosely threaded some thread on the rim, the waistline of the pants, and then pulled that taut so it was like a little drawstring. And I did the same thing around the neck of the shirt, and then I just added a little scarf to clean up the look, if you will. Then I added some detailing, just some paint on the pants. He's a painter, this puppet. He works really hard painting houses, so I needed to give him some paint on his pants, and then I gave him a little knot on his knee, because why not? Here's a close-up of the thread I use. It says 100% nylon thread. I believe this is quilting thread, or it's just extra duty thread. You can feel the difference. It's super thick, which is good for holding up like a marionette, because other thread has a tendency to break under the pressure. Here is just all the strings. I attached strings to the feet, through the feet, as you saw. I drilled holes into the shoes, and then I attached them to the arms, to the hands. I just threaded through that knitted material because there was room between the mitten part of the paw and that inside of the paw, the clay and hot glue wire part. And then I added strings to the shoulders. You could also do it to the head. I just didn't, only because the head on this puppet is the lightest part, and I was afraid it would just pull too much. Then I added more detailing to the shoes because I wanted to cover that like white inside from the drill hole. And then I found these paint stirrers at a mill, and I was like, these will make a perfect bar to attach all the strings to. So I just spray painted them pink, and then I drilled holes into the paint stirrers and threaded the string through the holes to hold up the marionette. So we've done it. We've made the marionette. I lied in the voiceover. I said I strung string through the feet, and I actually, well, I did, and then it wasn't really working, so I put it through the knees, and that's working a lot better. Perhaps I would have strung string through the elbows, because, like, now the arms and legs move at the same time. But the thing about puppets is, at least my method is trial and error. So, you know, there's always things to add, there's always things to improve, but there's always materials out there that will make a puppet. Hope that's what you've learned from this video, that you can just find random things like these paint sticks. Look at them. I added Velcro. I'm not even going to show you because they're still glue drying to hold the Velcro, but I added Velcro between the two so I can actually lift this bar off and just move the hands and the knees on their own. But this is the puppet. Thank you for watching. Go check out everything Bad Taste Video has to offer. They're amazing. And also you can follow me on Instagram at Thrifts and Prints. It's an online magazine for where I interview artists, but I also do my cat's eating string. Hold on. Grover. I interview artists, and I also make my own little puppet videos on there. My name's Riley Halliday. Also another Instagram. You don't have to follow me on there if you don't want to. You don't have to follow me anywhere. You can simply enjoy this video of a puppet. And you know, have some fun. So thank you for watching.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. So excited to have you on board.
Thank you for having me as a part of this.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for being in it. Specifically with this video, what was maybe the easiest and also the most difficult part of making the body for this puppet?
So I think this pretty much goes for every puppet, but at least for me, my favorite part is the details. Like once I see that it's all built up, I'm really like get going on like the outfit, and then like adding little elements to give them like character traits, like adding paint on the pants. Definitely the hardest part is always starting. Like sometimes I'll just like I started with that one head, and I was looking at it for a long time. I was like, I don't know how to actually attach this to a body. But and like I said in the video, it's a lot of like trial and error. So I just starting off is the hardest, but once you actually have all the materials, you can just play around, and that's also the beauty of puppets. Like the inside can be, it doesn't have to be beautiful, but as long as it's working, which is fun. And then I love to add like the artsy element on top, which is like putting it all together.
Nice. I feel the same way about people, sort of like, as long as everything in here works, the rest I can just add the artsy stuff on top and it'll be fine.
That's beautiful.
You said it, not me. Are you gonna put him in something, or are you just making it for fun?
I don't have any plans to do that, but you know, I make so many puppets just to have, like, I have a bunch, but I've never like cast I haven't cast like most of them in anything, but I would love to, because I do make videos, like I'm going to school for video, but then I like try to make puppets in my videos, and then I just never like actually like do it. So
Fair. But they're good to have. You never know when you'll need one more character and you're like, oh, I have Felix, he's ready, he's waiting.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I know one day I'll need like 20, 30 puppets. I'll have them.
Exactly. I guess in general then, what was kind of your journey from, okay, puppets are cool, to, okay, I'm gonna try to make a puppet? How long did it take to get to that, and what was your first puppet experience like?
Yeah, so it started like kind of randomly, making puppets. Nothing, well, I was in like a weird place in my life, just like kind of like going through like a lot with like personal relationships and stuff, and I was like, I need some time to myself. And I was like talking to my dad, and he was talking about like, you just like buy a book or something and like read it. This was like the end of freshman year of college, and I had it in my head. I was like, I want to learn to play guitar, and I want to learn how to make puppets. Like, those are my two goals. So I got a biography about Jim Henson, and I read it. And I only know the chords on guitar. I'm not very good, but I do know how to make puppets now. So yeah, I read the thing about Jim Henson. I think I just made one puppet. There's this guy on YouTube, Adam Krutinger. He's really like an awesome guy, and I just watched a lot of his videos, and I made this one hand puppet. It was like this old lady puppet, and I was like, now I'm gonna learn to be a ventriloquist. I didn't do that, but yeah, I started making that, and I was like, this is really fun. And then I took a class at my school. I go to Mass Art, and it's taught by Chuck Stigliano, and he's a puppeteer, and he's just like this awesome fun guy, and we got to make marionettes and him puppets, and I just had so much fun. Like, I love working with my hands, and like I love the like non-accuracy of it, because I'm like, I don't like measuring, but I love like the tactileness of making puppets. And then I just like realized like I really like doing it, and people started like asking me to make puppets for things, so that's where I'm at now.
How do you feel like your style in puppetry has developed as you've continued practicing?
Yeah, so I definitely like started off really like inspired by like Jim Henson puppets, and like I still obviously am. I think like Muppets have a hold on everyone, and they just look so likable. But as I've like just tried out more materials, like I have been really into marionettes. This one behind me is laser cut acrylic. So I've been more into like making them with a little more detail. I was super into like, you know, the like Muppet style, like super flat colors, but I've been loving just like adding like little details and elements that make them more like, give them more character. They look a little like folk arty, I guess, like not super like flat and commercial. But yeah, I haven't solidified my style yet, because I've like, you know, just been like going through trying out everything I like, but it definitely has evolved.
Both aesthetically and maybe personality as well, what would you say your character creation process is like?
Usually I let like the process kind of develop a character. Like, I think it's really fun to like, you know, glue on an eye and it's like kind of wonky, and then you like go off something from there. Like, I just have like puppets. I have some puppets with like huge mouths that are just like silly looking, and it just gives them that personality. So I usually like, I don't do like a ton of planning when it comes to the before part. I usually let like the material take me away and become this character. And then it's so fun, like once I start seeing the body, then I start to add all those little pieces. Like, I have like a puppet who has like old lady hair, and like she's like, I talk in like a smoking voice when I like use her. So I definitely just like let them like come to me and be like, what character are you gonna have?
Yeah, what are some of your favorite like materials to experiment with?
Mostly I use felt. I love getting I'm like a I've always shopped at thrift stores. So, but in the past few years, I realized like there's materials there as well. Like they literally sell fabric at thrift stores, and there's also like curtains and stuff that can be used. So I usually like acquire as much felt as I can at the thrift store because it's like a really just great material to make with since it's stretchy. Wire, any air dry clay is really good. Trash, I did make a puppet out of trash. For a while I had buckets of trash like under my bed, and I was like, I can't do this, like I'm collecting too much. But yeah, definitely like just anything I find, like I'll find pieces of wood that would make good like bars to like hold the strings. So it's mostly like I feel like I just collect anything that I could use.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things that I'm realizing about puppets through all of this is it seems materials wise so accessible, because the more and more puppets I see, the more I realize, yeah, you can make them out of literally anything, even trash.
Yeah.
So through Thrifts and Prints, you do all kinds of things, and you're very fashionable. You're always interviewing other people's art. I feel like you cover so many different mediums, and puppetry is one that can kind of contain them all. I guess, how do you place that within all the other cool arts you do?
Yeah, so I think like when it came to Thrifts and Prints, because that did start off as a fashion blog in high school, I was like, I really wanted to be a fashion blogger. And then I just like realized like I didn't like love doing that as much because of like the fashion world, and like, you know, I don't like having like a hold against like style or anything. I just like believe everyone can dress like fun and like there's no rules. So I like was in the process of making Thrifts and Prints like a place to interview artists. And then of course like I was inspired by like Jim Henson during the time of this like transition from fashion blog to interviewing artists. So I figured like that I didn't really have to like have a reason, but like I needed the puppets there in a way, like because of the connection they allow people to bring. Like puppets are just such a universal way to bring people together. There's something really fun about them. They're for adults and for children, because it takes like a lot of skill to actually like be a puppeteer. And I think like in terms of like connecting all mediums, like you said, like puppets are fashionable. I've always like had this idea of making like really like fashionable puppets that have like almost designer looking outfits on. But yeah.
I love what you've been doing with the channel and everything on your Instagram and the website, and I'm very excited for your interviews as they roll out. And I'm so excited to have you as part of our Puppet Month. So thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been awesome. So also amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was so nice to meet you.
Yeah. Likewise. All right. Well, have a great day.
Yeah, you too. And enjoy the rest of your beautiful puppet making.
Thank you. I will.